What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sexin and Flexin live Saturday night. We got a special one for you guys. I'm here at Huffs Herps Pet Shop. Is it a pet shop?
No, it's
No?
not Pet Shop.
Well, Huffs Herps. It's not a pet shop. My bad. Well, this is a
It's all
special one.
good.
This is a special one because I was invited here to do this live with them tonight, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. I tried pre-recorded, that didn't happen, but we're gonna do this. And I got a ball python. He has a Leo, and we're gonna sit here and talk about Leos and fat tail geckos.
Fat Tails.
Fat tail gecko. Let's see. All right. So my first question for him. Oh, I'm gonna let him first introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Seth at Huffs Herps. I'm the owner and founder of Huffs Herps. We've been breeding geckos for, at this point, I guess, pushing 9 years, 8 years, something like that. We started out with Leos and very soon got into Fat Tails, and that's kind of our main focus these days. We do both on a pretty mid scale. A lot of involvement from the whole family with our entire operation and with the whole collection. And yeah, so that's a little bit of what we're doing.
And why leopard geckos and
Uh,
tail geckos?
well, so leopard geckos was always a passion for me. Like I've always had geckos since I was pretty young. I remember in high school having some and like breeding them and producing one and not really knowing what the hell I was doing. The snake's 26 years old, by the way, everybody. I've had her since I was 14 years old. I guess she's 25, something like that. 25, 26. Anyway, yeah, so leopard geckos I had when I was like in high school, and then I got rid of whenever I got in the oil field. And then whenever my kids were like 3 or 4, they I decided to get a handful of geckos to just mess around with them, and it just kind of blossomed into what it is now. And yeah,
How was community back then versus now?
um, I don't know that it's changed. I mean, obviously it's changed, but it's definitely more volatile now. It's there's more. I don't know. That's hard to say for me because I wasn't very involved in the community as a whole in the beginning. I was just a little, didn't have much going on and just kind of a small collection and didn't have a whole lot of involvement in the community as a whole, if that makes sense in the beginning. But I wasn't, I've been in reptiles all my life, but I wasn't involved in the community aspect as far as like breeding high-end geckos before social media and all that. You know what I mean? So I don't have a take like some of the old schoolers do on like really far back of whenever it was only gecko fauna and stuff like and what was it kingsnake.com and all that. But everybody that's the only places that people could really go to market their stuff. So that I don't have a take on. I don't really have much to reflect on there, but it's definitely there's some characters in the community that are a little more on the negative side, and then there's those that are more positive and just about education and it's hard to really put a lot of content out there sometimes for some of us because we're so focused on the animals and the projects and the collections and everything. And that's definitely the case for me. Is like I've always and continue to want to try to put more content out there and get more just material out there and lessons out there for people and education out there for people. But it's so hard to find the time to do that with all the animals, taking care of them on the level that I want to keep them. You see my collection,
Yeah,
like how I keep shit. You know what I mean?
His collection is clean, and you can see partial of it right there in the doorway. It's nice setup, gorgeous. I walk in there, you're like, whoa, wow, it's nice, and it doesn't smell. I don't smell anything, anyways.
Nah,
No,
no, you never smell anything like
it
that.
smells good in here. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I've walked into some places, it's like, whoa, but yeah, it's not too bad. It doesn't smell like anything in here. It smells clean. But on that, I was gonna say, what is your favorite morph in Leos?
In Leo's, my favorite morph. That's a tough one. Bold Stripe, I'd have to say, is definitely my go-to there because that's something that I've always loved from the very beginning. Bold Stripe and White and Yellow Bell Albino is some of my favorites.
Which is the project we were talking about earlier.
No, that's kind of a combo project that
Oh, it's a different.
yeah, that's
Okay.
a different thing. That's kind of putting those two together, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, Bold Stripe. Actually, I have both of those right here to check out. So this is one of my most favorite examples of Bold Stripe, and she's basically
Oh, yeah. So,
about all you can ask for in a Bold Stripe. She's nice and rich on her bold coloration. It's very, very, very bold, and her striping is consistent from the base of her neck all the way to the tip of her tail. So that's basically as good as they get on bold striping. She's definitely my favorite. Uh, and then, so that's probably what I would have to coin as if I had a favorite morph. That's probably the morph that I'm most known for with the leopard geckos. And then tangerine, white and yellow bell albino is another really fun genetic to work with.
hey, Jill, you think that looks nice? Wait till you see the fat tail. Whew. Those things are popping. I said that looks nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Bro, wait till you see the fat tails though. But I'm like, I've been hanging out with this guy all day. Man, it's been a blast. Been showing me a good time pretty much. We ate, I mean, we drank, chilled, talked, and just getting to know each other, man. Down to earth guy. Seth is a down to earth guy. I just like we were just hanging all day, listening to music, vibing. I mean, I was like, we're here at your place. I won't call it a shop because I want to say shop, but it's not.
I mean,
a shop.
it's my shop, but it's not a pet shop. It's just a workshop. It's a
Workshop.
workshop, and it's my collection, and it's you know my little home away from home at this point. It's where I have all of my projects at, and where I spend a lot of time at.
And what do you say? Bosa said, "Let's go." What's up, Bosa? What's up, Bosa? That's our guy. It's a ambassador. We call him a Bosa ambassador because he likes to spread the positivity, support us all.
Oh yeah.
That's Bosa. If you haven't met him, you gotta check him out. He's cool as hell. Cool people. Hey, look, Bosa. Normal classics.
Before there was anything, that's a 25, 26-year-old snake.
He loves classics.
No genetics at all. Just ball python. I mean, who knows? There might be something floating around in there.
Oh, look, Bun's Finest. What's up? That's another gecko guy, Adam.
Cool, cool.
Hey, we're showing off some fat tails and lip and Leo's Adam. I was gonna say Bun's Finest. Anyways, we're gonna start showing off some fat tails. Who wants to see some fat tails? Those things are hot. What you got?
Give me just a second, bro. I'm gonna try to go and share this on mine.
Oh, he's gonna share.
Sorry, guys. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants right now.
He said, "Hell yeah, let's see some fat tails and Leos." He just missed the Leos. He just put on some fire.
Yeah, you missed it, bro. We still got him hanging around though. Isn't Saffron still? No, did I put him up?
I don't know. Where'd he go?
Yeah, I put them both up. But we'll take Larry Alice back out.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, Adam.
Bold stripe for days. That's ladder house.
Bro, honestly, how long did it take you to get all of this? To get where you wanted to be in the reptile industry? You know? I know you've been in the industry how long?
I'd say we start. I'd call it 2015 was like our actual started buying actual like high end breeder geckos. So where are we at now? 2023. So I said 8 years, 7 years.
8 years. 8 years in the industry and have this.
It
Man,
ain't.
I can't wait for that.
It ain't all that, dude. It's not like a superstore or anything.
It's something, bro. Trust me, it's something. It's a goal.
I mean, I'm happy with it.
It's like one of those things where like, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
That's a white and yellow Bella Albino.
That will tell you stickers too. Yeah, you owe me
Did I
some
give you
too,
some
Adam.
stickers at the show?
Yeah, you get. I think. Yeah, I took one.
I got. Did you get? Did you do a big one?
No.
I got 6-inch ones.
Oh no, I only got the little ones.
I'll give you 6-inch ones.
We're already talking about stickers. But yeah. No, excuse me.
Hey, don't forget it. Hold that.
Yeah, I was like, where do you go? We got a gecko on the run.
All right, I'm gonna show y'all him, and then I'm gonna put him up. This is a trim. This is not a trimper. This is a Tang Bold. That's pretty insane, color wise. See this?
That's gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. This girl's asleep on my lap.
I'll be right back.
No, you didn't, Adam. But yeah, so this is where I want to be in 5 years, guys. Hopefully I can do this shop or get a reptarium going. Right? Bro, Adam, you haven't seen nothing. This guy has some amazing stuff. His name's Seth, by the way. But yeah, he has some amazing stuff. He's about to pull out the fat tail geckos because we already showed all the Leos, the bias.
We want to start with some fat tails.
Yeah. I don't know the first one.
That was your favorite right there.
That one's my favorite. Yeah, I got my favorite already.
It's like really light sensitive. Remember?
Oh,
like
okay, the
shadow.
Albino one.
Yeah, the whiteout.
Oh my
Zulu.
God! Look at this! Look at this!
There's a whiteout caramel Zulu male.
Ooh!
He's gonna freak out with the lights.
That's my favorite, bro.
I'm having a hard time with that. Can you angle it down just a little bit? There we go.
The camera's over there. There you go. Oh. Yeah, the camera's weird on YouTube. It's backwards. Down is up, up is down.
Yeah, it's kind of it takes some getting used to.
That's a fat tail gecko, brother. That's gorgeous. Yeah, you do. And I would recommend buy from him.
Fat tails are definitely underrated in my opinion.
Oh,
They're my favorite species by far.
so let them know what all species you have here. Like your,
How many species we work with?
yeah.
So we have fat tails is the main thing we're working with. Then leopard geckos. Then we have gargoyle geckos that my 14-year-old twins work with. And then I just started working with Seracinorums from my buddy at South Texas Gex, Carl Vargas. Y'all check him out if you want anything lychee or gargoyle or anything like that related, or Sarah's. And what else do we have that we're breeding? I think that's about it that we breed. Leos, fat tails, Sarahs, and gargoyles.
Not the Quaid tail.
Oh yeah, the Cape geckos too. I forgot about them.
I was
Shit,
like, I just forget about
well,
those.
because you do forget about them because they're like roaches, dude. You never see them. You feed them like once a week, and you throw, you hydrate them, but like you never see them. They're kind of just like.
Bro, he has cave geckos. Those things are pretty awesome in my book.
I just got them like 6 months ago or 9 months ago.
Surprise. He said surprise, no crested.
No cresteds, no. I think that market is taken care of. There's plenty of people that are messing with those. We did have a pair of cresteds years ago, and there's a funny story behind that. Actually, my wife decided she wanted a pair of cresteds, and so we got her a pair. And she was holding the male. That was the first one she got, and she was holding him, and he was jumping from hand to hand, and she was sitting there talking to me, and he jumped halfway in her mouth, like a leg landed in her mouth, like inside of her mouth, to where she like freaked out, and that was the end of us having cresteds.
Appreciate that, Bosa. If you got your Instagram page,
Oh, yeah,
so
cool.
people can find you.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. Yeah, I was sitting there trying to share a minute ago, but I didn't want to take away from the conversation. But yeah, that was the end of Seven Crested, basically, because I didn't really want much to do with them. I was focused on the leopard geckos, and I don't even know if I was messing with fat tails at that point yet. And yeah, that was our crested gecko adventure. So no crested geckos. We have gargoyles, and my boys do isopods. They have a couple different species of isopods, and that's about it, dude. And then we have for pets, we have the white street frog, and we have box turtles. And my wife just got a radiated tortoise. She's so excited about that freaking tortoise, y'all. It's ridiculous.
A radiated tortoise.
Yes.
I never don't know.
Dude, they're awesome. They're a tortoise that only get about yay big.
Okay.
You know, a nice moderately sized tortoise that doesn't get huge and isn't really hard to manage, like a sulcata or an aldabra or something. But they're very like tightly regulated on who you can like sell them to and stuff. Like you can only sell them to somebody that's a Texas state resident.
Okay.
So I could sell one to you, but I couldn't sell one to my buddy in Louisiana.
Oh wow.
Like it's weird.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go a little off subject here. What? Well, it's gonna be the same thing, kind of the same shit. What we were talking about earlier. Like, but I'm gonna ask it differently.
Right.
So it's gonna be like one of the questions is, what is one of your favorite things in the industry / hobby, and what is one of your favorite least things? I mean, not favorite, but what is one of your least things that you don't like in this hobby?
That's funny. I've thought about that before, and I have an interesting answer to that. My favorite thing about this hobby, other than the animals are obviously first with everything, right? But my favorite thing in this hobby is the people. People like you that I meet that are like, hey, you want to go hang out? And we get to know each other and we end up hitting it off, right? And my least favorite thing about this hobby is also the people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it kind of is a double-edged sword because I meet really cool fucking people that I enjoy hanging out with and I just really hit it off with, and then I meet all kind of other people that just really rub me the wrong way because I don't agree with where they stand ethically, and I'm very very much an advocate for ethical practices and things of that sort. And so that's something that I stand very firmly about and have been very outspoken about with some people in the past. So that's something that, like I said, my answer is the same. People for both questions. You know what I mean?
So
does that make sense?
Us as people, how can we like bring this community together as one, like united? Because that was one of my questions, but I'm trying to figure out.
Well, shit like this, first of all, you know, having conversations and open the door to the conversation. Honestly, what I try to do in my personal life is it's hard for me to separate and compartmentalize. And so, like, I get really hyper focused on stuff. So, like, if I have an issue with somebody online or on social media or whatever, like, I'll catch myself, like, diving into something and having a downward spiral of just being hyper focused on that and not focusing on my projects and my animals as much as I want. Like, not that my animals aren't ever taken care of, but, like, focus the time and energy onto the thought process of the breeding aspect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I've had times where I've had to kind of step back and be like, okay, no, don't let your focus slip away to this person or this, these people that may want to try to bring you down. Like, focus on what's important and the animals and the projects.
Right. What you have at hand, pretty much.
Right.
What's up
So
to you?
so it's I know that's kind of not much of an answer question,
Yeah.
to the question, but like that's just what I find myself doing is I have a hard time being super involved on that aspect of like making change because every time I've tried to do that in the past, I've ended up getting myself too wrapped up in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I end up like not focusing on what I need to focus on, which is this.
Which is your baby.
Yeah, yeah,
I get it. I get it. I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now too.
yeah, dude.
A
Yeah,
lot of it.
dude. Honestly, I've checked out of Facebook lately. Like here in the last couple of months, everything that's going on, like every now and then open it up and scroll through it. But for the most part, I don't. I'm just checked out of it. I don't want to mess with it at all. I don't want to have anything to do with all that drama, and it's just not anything that I'm interested in. And again, I don't want to take my focus away from this and the projects that I'm working on, and my family. My family's first, of course.
Always, always. And that's one thing we preach, man. Family before anything. And Levi had to take a break during. Uh, he took a month off and left the podcast for a little bit, so we were off for a month. At the same time, I was recruiting sponsors and going live without him. Well, I did one live without him, and this is the second one without him. So, but other than that, he needed a break. He needed to get back in touch with his family. And the question, and what really happened was too, is like passion. Like, how do you keep your passion burning for these animals while losing that passion? You know?
And that's my answer is the same. Is I try to focus on the animals. I try to not let myself get distracted with the noise, with the different avenues or different types of noise that we run into in the hobby. Uh, what's up, Blaker? Lakers Pythons.
Yeah. He's cool.
I try to not get distracted with all the noise in the hobby and try to focus on stay in my lane and focus on my stuff is what I try to really do.
Just saying. I get you. I get you. But what was I saying? I was gonna say something. Right? I had a question. I lost it. Damn it. What's up, Johnny? Hey, yeah, I'm wearing the shirt today. can't can't see me. Trying to get over here. But yeah, we're doing a special one, Johnny. We're here at Huffs Herps at his shop. His shop, not a pet shop. His shop. Called it a pet shop earlier. It's not. Um, and we're just talking about what's going on in the industry, hobby, community, whatever it may be. He works with leopard geckos, fat tail geckos, obviously some other like other geckos. But man, I had another question for you and I lost
Well,
it.
it's just some geckos while you figure that out.
Yeah. We're gonna show some fat tail geckos. Anybody want to see those?
So this is Thor. This is that big young male I showed you.
Oh yeah.
So this dude, these geckos grow for 2 to 3 years, and this guy is already way bigger than a lot of adults that I have, and he's gonna be huge. This is Thor. He's a big boy.
What is your take on US art?
I think USR's doing a lot of good things. They've done got a lot of good things. They definitely have uh, a good purpose. I think that they, if I'm being honest, I feel like sometimes they allow people to donate and get a presence on their platform that maybe shouldn't be there, just just based on the donation, without doing any background, you know, looking research or looking into the person and the ethics behind that person. Um, that's kind of my gut answer to that question.
Do you still support them or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not gonna make me
not support them?
not support them. I donate at every expo that we go to that has a US Arc auction. I donate. I don't like donating live animals to those auctions. So what I usually do is I either donate like a gift certificate for one of our anything, or I'll donate one of the enclosures. Like I have the nice enclosures that I
The ones
do.
you just made?
Yeah. I'll donate like my nicest one that I build for that expo. I'll donate that one to it. You know. Um, so yeah.
So do you? I know I'm all over the place with these questions, but I'm trying to get them as they
It's all
come.
good, bro.
So, do you plan expanding this place, or is it just this? This is it.
Um, yes and no. I mean, I have plans on the space itself, but I'm not. I'm staying within this space here for a while. You know, I signed a 3-year lease on this building. I do have the option to move up into one of his larger units, but I don't think I'll need it. Looking at it right now, but you never know. But I feel like I've got plenty of space to work with. You know.
So as me looking in, trying to come in and get a space, like what do I gotta do to get one, or you know, to get a space for myself?
Um, be fully committed first of all. You know, like you can't be kind of half-assing it or just kind of doing it for fun. And what I mean by that is like whenever I used to go to an expo, I used to go to an expo with an attitude of, hey, this is a free weekend as long as you make enough money to cover the expenses on everything. It's a free weekend out, right? We get to hang out with people and talk shop about reptiles and cool. Well, ever since, and we can talk about whenever I went from hobby to business in a minute, but ever since I went from hobby to business, I've had a whole different approach whenever I go to expos. And that's not to say, you know, that I'm doing shady business or anything like that. That's just to say that whenever I go to an expo, I'm no longer thinking about like, hey, as long as I cover expenses, I'm good. I have a whole different mentality of like, I need to make money. I need to profit every single time that I take time away from my family to be at an expo. I need to make sure that I'm taking the maximum advantage of that weekend and profiting with it. And so that just means that I'm hustling harder. I'm hustling harder pre-expo, setting up and building all the enclosures and getting all that set up. You saw my setup at the expo. You
Yeah,
know,
nice.
I got the starter kit set up to where whenever people walk up to my expo and they're like, okay, we've never had a leopard gecko and we don't know what they need, instead of having to tell them, okay, go over here and check all this out, and then in between here and there, maybe they see a $40 or $50 gecko, they're like, oh, well, let's just get this,
Yeah.
you know, instead of buying one of my high end geckos that they already fell in love with. Um, I have the setup very low cost, affordable, with instructions. I have a QR code on the back of it that links people to a YouTube video of me showing how to set it up, and it's very like user friendly, right? And so that's part of like our whole presence there at the expos is having that in full readiness for everybody.
Yeah. So like when people go into your table, like do you like greet everybody and try to like what am I looking for? Like sell like what is that word?
Like just sell the product.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I'm not trying to sell them something that they don't want, but I'm definitely trying to, because at expos, I've learned over the years, a lot of like 80% of the people that are walking around an expo are people that are brand new to reptiles. don't have a clue what they want, but know they want something, and so they get there and they're walking around trying to figure out, do I want a ball python or a bearded dragon or a leopard gecko or a fat tail gecko or like and a lot of times fat tail gecko isn't even on the radar, but those common, these are the best. Okay, and so obviously I have a little bit of a sales tactic at the shows where I'm like wanting to sell my product in that sense that, like, hey, you have all these options out here. Here's why I feel like leopard geckos are one of the best beginner pets, you know, and then I split my game there, So yes, I am being a salesman on that sense. We're selling our product, we're selling ourselves, we're selling, we're selling the interest to people into the hobby. We're trying to get people hooked on the hobby, right? I told somebody the other day at an expo, he's like into hiring snakes and stuff, and we were talking about how we're doing, and I was having a pretty good expo, and he was kind of struggling, and I was like, well, this is kind of a crowd that seems to be more of a beginner crowd, and I was like, I've got that gateway drug for him, you know.
Yeah.
So I've got that leopard gecko in the setup and everything for him, and can be that entry level part of the experience.
So you strike for excellent customer service, pretty much.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. After the animals, it goes family, animals, customers. Like that's my order of priorities in my day. You know what I mean? As soon as the animals are taken care of, then it's on to taking care of the customers, whatever scope that might be.
So for you, is it like mainly like selling quality animals, or is it about the money, or do you love the animals?
100% about the animals. No, I mean, the money has to be a factor in any business, right? So there's definitely, you have to be conscious of the overhead and conscious of everything in that sense, but it's got to be about the animals. You have to have the passion. I mean, you just went through the leopard gecko room with me, dude. You know, that's a lot of animals, and that's a fraction of the animals that we have to take care of. So like to be able to have that many animals to take care of on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, because fat tails are kind of not really just once a week like you can do Leos. They're a little more intensive care. They need not advanced or anything, but they just need fresh water a little more often,
Yeah.
And they need to be fed a little more often sometimes. But forgot what I was getting at.
He pulled a Levi. Lost the train of thought. You want to see some more fat tail geckos? What's that one on top?
That's this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's show Skittles first.
Oh yeah, we're gonna show Skittles. So you go ahead and tell them about Skittles.
Yeah, so Skittles is this is Skittles she's my mascot animal right there. That's Skittles. Okay. And I guess I'll show a picture of Skittles in her glory first before I show her like right now. Because obviously they have a prime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the best picture I have that I show everybody to everybody of Skittles in her prime. That's a pretty insane fat tail, right? Have you ever seen anything like that?
No. I haven't. Can you taste the rainbow?
Can you taste the rainbow? Is that, yeah.
Bosa. I love Bosa, man.
So this is Skittles right now. This is kind of preseason. She's in between seasons right now, nice and healthy, ready for next season.
Gorgeous.
And this is Skittles today as an adult. I call it kind of rusting out at about a year and a half old. They kind of go past their prime and look a little different. But she is awesome for sure.
So are they easy to take care of?
They are. They're very easy to take care of. For just to keep, they're very similar to leopard geckos. To breed, they're much more intensive. And that's just to say, like the females, they have a lot more care that they need during the season whenever they're laying. They have a lot more nutritional demands than leopard gecko. And that's mainly because, like, a lot of times they insist on crickets, especially whenever they're breeding and have a suppressed appetite during their ovulation cycle. Um, and so you just have to be a little more on top of their nutrition. The females can go down a little harder and faster than a leopard gecko. So the way I tell people is, like, a lot of people can get away with basically neglecting leopard geckos, and you can't even tell it by looking at their animals. Whereas fat tails, like, you can't do that. Like, they'll go down hard. They'll show your ass. You know what I mean? So that was Skittles. This is a really cool animal that I picked up from a friend of mine, and it's 100% my lineage that she produced it from. Oh, I didn't mention to you either. The mom is an F1 from my wild caught stuff. So she's 50% wild caught, this gecko right here.
So 50%.
50% wild caught line. Like her blood is 50% wild caught, and then she's looks like this. So check this out. This is the same project that Skittles comes from, the Mango Project. And this is just a really cool example of it, with all kind of cool colors and pattern and stuff going on. So this is a tangerine whiteout, technically, is what this is called. And this line or project is called the Mango Project, and that's specific to some animals I'm working with on this project. And that's just comes from the matriarch female is named Mango for that project. And she doesn't look like a whole lot of incredibleness. She just hatches awesomeness. Like,
And the babies, are they hard to establish?
no, they're a little bit harder than the fat tail, than the Leos. That's the next part of the factor, is getting the baby started. Is like, you can't just put them mealworms and let them roll. They take a little bit more care than the Leos in general. We start ours on dubia, tiny dubia roaches, which can be a little expensive if you don't farm your own. I have a big enough colony that I can have enough dubia for all of my babies, and then I buy mediums and smalls for my juveniles and adults. And then we also have mealworms that we grow our own and we buy. So we have a little bit of everything. And then we buy crickets. Yeah, thanks, Bosa Balls.
We call them, what you call them?
Bosa.
Or, like
Bosa.
I said, or Bosa, or they call them Geeke, Aaron.
So let's see. If you think that's nice, check this one out.
Yeah.
Who likes color orange?
I love color yellow. It's my favorite color, actually. That's what I like the logo. Damn, this one is fire. This one's like one of my second favorites, I think.
This is a whiteout amel, a tangerine whiteout amel from that same project, from the Mango Project. I got my big fat thumb in the way.
That one. There you go.
And she is incredible. That takes some getting used to.
Take my money, he said.
Hit me up. She's available. She ain't cheap, though. This is literally the nicest fat tail I've ever hatched. She is insane. And y'all know how it is with oranges and reds and yellows on camera.
Does no justice.
Chris, look at this gecko in person, dude.
Bro, that thing is
How insane is that,
yeah. I'll send pictures.
Like,
I'll send pictures, both so
you can't
can
even
see that.
You can't even,
because right now
understand.
this camera is not doing it justice at all. Definitely not.
I was telling you earlier, that's why I hate doing them on camera. Like, you just can't even see it.
Yeah, because before we started this, I asked him if he wanted to show any animals, only because for that reason it was the camera doesn't do the animal justice when it comes to colors and showing off the markings and everything on the gecko. And I told him it was up to him, but I don't know. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. She looks alright. The lighting in here is good enough, I guess.
It's a little dark,
I'm
in here,
picky.
but
Right?
it's a little dark in here, but it's still good. It's still good.
So this is one of my favorite new projects. So I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with the Black Knights and leopard geckos, right? Been around for a minute. Very expensive still. They've held their value more than I thought they would, honestly. A lot of people have them. They're still going for 1,000 Bs plus, you know. So this is my equivalent to the Black Knights in the African fat tail gecko.
I'm already in love, man. I'm in love here.
So this is technically just an Oreo patternless fat tail gecko, but it's a specific pairing that has produced very, very, very dark offspring that are staying almost solid black. So my goal is to key in on that dark presentation of the pigment and have a solid black African fat tail. That's called my Black Velvet project. And this is Soot. She's the darkest
And phenomenal.
of the project. So
Phenomenal. Bro, like when you hold a baby compared to an adult one, oh man, they're so cute. They look like the little statue things they saw at the expos.
the only other one I have right here is Spook. That
Is
first
that the
male I
baby?
showed you. No, that first male ghost I showed you earlier.
Oh,
The one you really
yeah,
like. Fluorescent ghost.
pull him out. Pull him out. Pull him out. What's up, Bree? What's this? Talking about geckos. He has some geckos that look. What are those called? The ones that look like the cresties, but they're not cresties.
Seracinorum.
Taracinorums.
We got Seracinorums and we've got
And,
Gargoyles.
and they're awesome too. They feel like, what was it that they feel like? You said velvet?
I, I don't know. They feel like Cresties to me. Like they're very similar in texture. But this is a ghost morph African fat tail gecko. His name is Spook.
He is badass.
He's like fluorescent, purple and orange. I finally figured out how to hold them. Like two geckos from the last. You want some Sarahs? Okay,
Hit him up.
you need it. No, not hit me up. I don't have any Sarahs yet. You need to check out Carl Vargas at South Tex Gex. He's got the Sarahs. He's got the hookup on the Sarahs. Trust me. If you want some Sarahs, that's the man to go to. He's got all kind of different projects to work with.
So, do you want to show one of them or not?
What, one of the Sarahs? Yeah, we can take one of them out.
Yeah, he's gonna get one for you, Bree. I'm asking him if he can show you one. You're gonna love it. It's fucking gorgeous, gorgeous.
I'll try to catch one.
They're a little fast, a little. They run on their back legs. Joking, joking. They don't. But Seth, man, Seth has been awesome. We've been hanging out all day, talking, chilling, jamming to music, and I was like, let's just do the podcast live tonight. That'd be a special one, cause Seth here has a tight schedule, so I gotta fit it in as best I can. So there it is.
This is my female, and they're kind of crazy, as you can see. Richard. They can be tamed down, but I haven't worked with these at all yet. I just got them a few weeks ago, and they're still kind of settling in.
That is awesome.
This is from a melanistic project. They fire up pretty dark compared to most other Sarahs. This female doesn't have any markings at all. Most of them have a lot of like spotting all down their back. So
She said they're so cool. She said, "Bet, thank you, laugh out loud, thank you." When I actually have money, there,
Carl out, he's got it.
I have him send me his page, and I'll send it to you, Bree. or unless you found it already. But yeah, this is we're working with fat tails, leopards, so we're on
Gargoyles and
gargoyles. And he has a little cute frog over here too. Oh, I forgot what those are called.
It's a white street frog or a dumpy
A
frog.
dumpy frog. Yes, a white tree frog.
Blue
I'm about to
face.
get one. But yes, he has a little bit of everything. Not a lot, a little bit of everything when it comes to like geckos and frogs. Wise.
Most of fat tails and Leos. Huh?
Yeah, mostly fat tail.
That's what we work with mostly is fat tails and Leos.
What's the name? See now. I was gonna say something.
I don't know. We got all some geckos. That's all the geckos I got pulled out. But
Yeah, I know. Only because there's so many you got.
yeah, it's kind of hard to choose.
Well, I was gonna say, what was the little baby one? That one that you let me hold, the little one. I just want to hold that little one. Why do this? I don't think. What is your gargoyle?
That one is a phantom stripe.
Oh, he has a phantom stripe, not an orange quad. So can y'all hear us? Okay? Are we like far away from the mic? Too close to the mic? She said, "Well, another gargoyle." But yeah, this was yeah, it was last minute. I was trying to schedule it later, pre-record it, and then try to drop it later.
So
But
cool. Check out the blue dusting on his too.
look at this. Look at this baby. That's a little baby. Tell me you don't want. Tell me you don't want one of these guys. Look at this, Bosa. Yeah, look at that. You know you want that. That's what it's about right here, man. These animals. This is what we're speaking for. Oh, sorry, the snake just hit my computer. This is what we got to come together for right here. Education on these geckos. Oh, so Bree, Simple Scales, she's a crested gecko breeder. Simple Scales. She's a crested gecko and gargoyle breeder.
Okay, cool. I kind of recognize that name. Does she vend?
She just started vending.
Okay.
What was that last show you been, Bree? She just vended one recently where she lives in. I know you've been a lot because that's where I met you.
Yeah.
Was
yeah,
at
we,
the
we
show.
do a lot of shows. We're doing about 20 shows a year. Total.
How far you drive? How far
Our
is the drive?
furthest ones that I've gone to Tinley once. So that's up in Chicago. That's far as, you know.
Yeah.
And I probably won't do that. I'll probably do that next year, but I probably won't do that this year.
I've been oaked a lot. I'll be in Rochester in New York.
Okay, cool. So that's the first we've ever gone, but regularly we go to Arlington twice a year, at least twice a year.
The NRBC one?
Yeah. And then we do all the local shows, and then we do Conroe and Houston and all that. We do the Herps show. We do the Reptilian Nation show. We do the Texas Reptile Expo, and we do the Lone Star Expo.
Wait, where's the Texas Reptile Expo?
That one, actually, the next one is coming up next month in Shirts. They have it in Shirts, and they have it in Arlington.
Oh, the Lone Star one?
Yes, I'm sorry.
The Lone Star one, right?
That's the Lone Star. The Texas Reptile Expo is the one in McQueenie. My bad.
Oh, okay,
sorry, guys. Texas Reptile Expo is in McQueenie only, and that one's like 5 times a year. And then the Lone Star Expo is the one that's in Shirts like once or twice a year, and then they're in Arlington several times a year. We don't do that one though. We do the Shirts one. So that one's coming up next month, actually, on the 22nd.
The Lone Star one?
Yeah.
The 15th and
16th, 16th. Yeah.
Yeah, I requested that off. I'll be there.
Cool.
I'll be there, and the San Antonio, the Reptilian Nation Expo one.
Yeah.
I'll be there too. because I'm actually helping promote that. We're gonna
Dude,
be there.
for that Shirts Expo, it should be a fairly slow expo. Not slow, but like it's a small expo, so we're not usually super slammed the whole time. So
So
if you wanted to plan on doing like a live or something, that'd be cool.
we could. I I I put on the flyer for that expo. If anybody wanted to get together, hang out with half of Sexin and Flexin, since my co-host lives in Arizona, he's not going to come down all the
Right,
time.
right.
So we could just make something happen, and he'll jump on
Well, and
whenever
I
he can.
usually for that expo, I usually do a little get together at the house or something too. So you're welcome to either this. We'll probably do a get together here actually.
Okay.
So you're welcome to come to that expo
Hell yeah. Mhm. Hell yeah.
on the Saturday night.
But are you going to need help with that expo too?
No, okay. No, I'll probably have family with me on that one.
Yeah, because I know
But
T. Do you know who T5 Bulls is?
yeah,
Yeah, he asked me to help him out too.
cool,
So
cool.
I think
So
I'm
you'll
gonna
be
go
there
help
for sure.
him. Yeah, help him. And I love working with these bulls though because they're super docile and tame.
You must handle them a lot from newborn.
We're all getting off subject. Sorry guys. Um, but yeah, we're just talking about the expos. He does been at expos, quite a few of them. Cause what? Cause it's fun.
Because they're fun, because they're a source of income, because they're a source of being able to educate people, um, introduce new people to the hobby and to keeping these awesome geckos that I'm very passionate about and love, keeping and producing. Um, and so just that's the main thing that we want to focus on. Like obviously, like I mentioned, like now it's a business. We need to make money. Whenever we go to an expo, we need it to not be a negative thing, monetarily. But education is still the first reason we're there, and that's the primary source. And like I said, you've seen our presentation, and me and my wife spit the game. And when people walk up, like we're standing there, not on our phone, not sitting down on our phones.
Yeah.
We're standing there talking to people, introducing people to these animals, and putting them in their hands and letting them experience them. How many times did you say today? Every time I gave you a fat tail, you're like, "Damn, I'm falling more in love with these things every time."
Yeah.
Like they're really cool little geckos, and people don't realize how cool they are. And so education is the first thing, not, and we're not trying to dupe anybody. We're trying to show them, hey, look, this is a good option. This is a fairly easy option to take care of. This is a very confident or comfortable option as far as handling. They're easy for the kids to take care of because they're handled because they're not as flighty as maybe a baby leopard gecko even, or especially a small gargoyle or crested gecko. Um, and so we're mainly just trying to get the word out there on how awesome these geckos are. Leopard geckos, fat-tailed geckos, gargoyle geckos, all of them, and that's our primary purpose there at the expos. And that's what, and I think that if you focus on that and focus on the education factor, and by that I mean whenever people walk up, even if and especially if I know that they're not going to buy a gecko from me, I still make sure like we have a general little spiel to run through. Hey, how you doing? You have any geckos? And half of them are like no, and half of them are like yeah, we have a leopard gecko, and that's just a conversation opener. The next thing we ask them is cool. Not what's your gecko's name or any of that. I ask them, what do you feed your gecko? And that again is just a conversation, ball rolling. And then they tell me whatever the hell it is, crickets, mealworms, dugger roaches, whatever it is, superworms. I don't care what bug it is. Then I want to ask them, what do you feed your bugs? I'm just trying to get to that conversation of gut loading, which I'm sure you know about. But dude, I'm telling you, probably 70 to 80% of the people, maybe even more, that I ask that to look at me and say nothing. And then we progress on to that conversation of, well, this is what you could be doing. Look, this fat Taylor fell asleep with my hands. He's just sitting here,
Look at that.
just crashed out
Crash right in his
while
hand.
I'm talking. I just woke him up, moving him around, but he's just chilling.
They're so
Um,
docile, man. Seriously.
we stress the information of gut loading and nutrition of your feeders, and that's something that snake keepers don't have to worry that much about because mammals as a feeder source consist of all your muscles and bones and proteins and like they need to be obviously from a good source and fed well and not and euthanized humanely and stored correctly, right? You have to factor all that in with snakes, but you don't have to factor in constant nutrition of the feeders like you do with geckos that you're feeding live insects to. And so that's a whole other factor. And honestly, that's what I tell. I break that news to everybody, whether they're getting their first gecko or trying to ramp up their keeping and turn into breeding. And like that's the biggest and most time consuming part of all of keeping or breeding geckos is taking care of, if you're doing it right, taking care of and nutritionally packing the insects. Why didn't we feed the leopard geckos earlier? We cleaned them all and hydrated them all. What'd I say? I forgot the gut load
Yeah,
this morning.
forgot to go.
I forgot the gut load, so I put the gut load this afternoon, not long before you got here. And so I want to let them gut load, and I'm going to feed them tomorrow. I'd rather those geckos, wait an extra day on that meal and get nutritionally packed insects than say, screw it, and feed them tonight just to get it done with. Because I could have done that, but that's not how we roll. Like we're all about nutritionally based, mindset.
I get it. I get it. Well, I understand. But like, so what would you say to somebody coming into the hobby of Leos and fat tail geckos? Like, what would you tell them?
Focus on quality. I talked to so many people at the expos, especially that walk up to me and they're like, "Oh, I've got, you know, this random gecko. What should I put it to? Can I? You have a female to go with it." And if they want to just buy one of my females to put it to some random gecko, that's fine. But I do go ahead and educate them on the fact that they're better off, and you don't have to buy. When I say focus on quality, that doesn't mean you have to buy two $800 geckos to start with. You can still find, I've even got $125 lower end of a given morph of the bold stripe. It's not going to look like lateralis, but you can make a lateralis of your own with it, right? It's not going to look like saffron, the white and yellow bell,
Yeah.
but you can make your own saffron with it. You know what I mean? You remember I showed you the Joker and her, her offspring? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's all about like just putting the right animals together and taking the advice of the breeder that you're working with and making those right parents, Um,
So did you have a mentor coming into this?
Not really. Well, yes and no. Like I had some YouTube, just kind of random stuff that I found on there, and that can be good and bad, right? Because you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube that is great information and very factual and up to date and good info. And then you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube that seems at its face value very good info, but the person might not really know what the hell they're talking about. You know, just because they have a lot of animals or just because they have pretty animals doesn't necessarily mean that they're dialed in.
Yeah.
They could still just be a few years into things and putting on a big show. You know, and having that great presence, and whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and that's a conversation a lot of people have sometimes, and I've had recently is like, do you want to be an influencer that has pretty geckos or has pretty snakes, or do you want to be a breeder that also does some social media stuff? I feel like there has to be a line there that you have to decide on, like, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
in general.
I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah. But look at this thing. You see that game?
He might be a keeper. Pretty chill.
Chilling, man. It's been chilling there the whole time. That is dope. That is nice, man. That's so gorgeous.
I love his blue in that tail. You probably can't see it. Sorry, buddy. Grab his foot.
What's that? What's the mark on that one again? Or the
This is a patternless, but the bluing on the tail is really cool because there's a stone that exists in their natural habitat that is like that baby blue color.
yeah,
And so it's interesting that they get that bluing on their tail like that.
that's gorgeous. So
Thank you. You will put him up.
yeah. Oh man. I'm getting stuffed up in here. It's my nose. I've been oaks a lot. I wonder who's all here still. Let me see like a couple of people in here. But what is he doing? Trying to eat?
Nice. He's in the
So if you could change one thing in the hobby, what would it be and why? Like with positivity, anything, you know, husbandry,
Um,
everything that's going on. You can use that for example. Everything that's going on right now.
if I could change one thing in the hobby, it would be this. And I've already mentioned this a couple times to you. If I could change one thing in the hobby, it would be to extend the memory of the hobby. And what I mean by that is I have a problem with the fact that the hobby seems to have such a short term memory of individuals that have unethical practices or do wrong things, and it's so easy for them to just take a couple years back, or not even that, they can just not mention those things that they did for a few years and people just forget about it, right? And and they can just have a great YouTube or Instagram or social media presence or whatever, and just thrive in certain aspects, when other things can cancel people altogether. You know what I mean?
True. I see
Um,
what you're saying.
so it's kind of an interesting fact, or element there that I could do without. You know, or I would rather people just be held more accountable for their actions and for their practices overall. Does that make sense?
I get it, but how would we do that though? I hear that all the time, but it's still like, how would we do that? It's kind of hard to hold, like, everybody hold that person accountable
Well,
or so and so accountable. Like that's just too much. So
no, I agree. That's a big weight to carry. Um,
uh, on that, I feel like we're all still trying to figure out how to police ourselves, even though I don't think we can.
there's too many bad apples to be able to police ourselves. That's it's there's so many bad influences in the hobby that put on a good show, put on a good front, or have been around for a long time that people just ignore their actions, and so I feel like it's kind of a losing battle there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just feel like all I can do is my part, you know, and make sure that I stay
Passion.
ethical and passionate and driven and focused, you know.
And I agree with that because okay, I'm gonna share something with you because when I came into the hobby back in shit, 2018, I wasn't on Instagram yet. I was on Facebook only, and I was hustling, selling my shirts already. I did so everybody calls it ass backwards. I went ass backwards. I branded myself and built off my brand, my name, my shirt, my merch before I even sold the reptile. So pretty much I wasn't
Yeah,
in
it's last backwards.
right. It is. Well, even though I did it that way, I still went in there and I still hustled. I sold my merch, and then when it came down to selling a reptile, everybody was like, "Yeah, I want one of your reptiles." Because why? Because I was passionate. But then when I jumped onto Instagram, I ran into a little bit of the drama. I was already inducted into what do you call them, a group, a clique.
Hmm.
Well, I was in a clique, and that clique, I didn't know it was like fighting amongst each other in the clique, So
Right.
everybody's right on everybody, or can I talk to you, or you won't tell nobody. Like it was one of those. It was ridiculous. It was dumb. But when I came into the hobby, I ran into Mary. I don't know if you know her, Mary Python.
Mm.
No? She asked me. She's like, Chris, what do you want to do in this hobby? What's up, Military Morse? What's up, Kayla and Max? Or I don't know who's watching. Uh, they were like, "Well, what do you want to do in the hobby?" I'll be like, "I was honestly, I wanted to spread positivity. I wanted to unite people and bring them together. And to this day, I still try to do that. I have not changed. I've been the same way. And every time I meet somebody new, I just, try to treat them like family.
That's awesome, dude.
Same way. Like this, the same way I want to be treated is the same way I'll treat you. But if you treat me differently, you're gonna get a different treatment, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's that's what I've been doing since day one. Like there was giveaway raffles to help kids. There was one a while back about brain cancer. I donated like a lot to and gave away a lot of snakes and reptiles to help everybody out in this hobby, and I would do it again. You know, I would do it all the time. Just
Right.
that's because how passionate I am about this hobby, this industry. I loved it. Like I love everybody in the community, even though I don't know who talks about me, or who doesn't like me. And like everybody says, you got haters, then you're doing something right. So I see it that way.
Yeah. To an extent.
So I yeah, I
To an
know what you're
extent.
talking about.
When you get like dozens of people that are hating on you, then maybe you need to take a step back and look at yourself. But if you just got, one or two, random people here and there, now depending on your scope, your scale, I'm sure people like Joe Rogan has hundreds of people that are hating on him. He has to ignore those people. But you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Like obviously you should ignore just this one or two, noise in the crowd. But if you really have a significant percentage of people that are hating on you, then I think a lot of people need to take a step back and look at what they're doing and make sure, just take a second look and make sure that they are doing the right things and on the right path. You know what I mean?
Well, and another
Because
thing,
sometimes you get kind of tunnel vision. I don't know. It sounds like something outside.
yeah.
Dog is what it sounds like.
But why you go see that? But another thing is too. Uh, Another thing is too is that like in this hobby, we're probably like what I wanted to do, not probably what I wanted to do was go to every community, get a leopard gecko breeder, monitor breeder, and bring them back this way. Because why? We're all one community, regardless.
Right.
So everybody's like, right now, it's like everybody's either a python community or a boa community. I'm like, why can't we all just get along? Like, why can't we all, you know, come together and
Totally.
just,
I think that takes a lot of you know A lot of persuasion
I
to
feel
get people to look out, look outside of their lane and look outside their box. I personally, like, my best friends all work with different stuff. That, like, none of my best friends locally are leopard gecko or fat-tail breeders. Like, one of them works with leopard geckos, but that's not his primary thing. Like, it's a crested gecko breeder, a lychee breeder, you know, stuff like that. And I think that works well because we don't have any sense of competition or anything in any of the shows. We're all just kind of like they're doing our thing and hang out together afterwards, and we're all happy for each other. Whether we do well or do bad, or support each other. Um, and that's what it's about, is just supporting each other, right? And take care of each other.
well, at least that's what we wanted to be about. But
That's what it
okay,
should be about.
that's yeah, exactly. That's what it should be about.
And so, like, I know that my close friends know that I'm there for them, and will take care of them, and or help take care of them, in times of need. Um, my circle's pretty small, though. I'll be honest. You know, uh,
And you're not the only one that said that. Like, no matter whoever I interviewed, they're like, my circle is pretty small.
yeah,
Like, I got a basic circle.
yeah,
We all got a circle. Like, but I'm always willing to expand it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'll let you in until once you do something behind my
yeah.
back.
If you prove me wrong,
Yeah,
then
pretty much.
yeah,
I like that, and I learned that from my dad
yeah,
before my dad passed away. So I would like, so for me, familiar, you heard of that?
mhm,
Me familiar is we actually I started that. It was a positive. It's supposed to be spread positivity through the community, educate, reptile like new incoming reptile keepers, somebody coming into the hobby, somebody looking for help. Like we have a whole bunch of people in there that are just straight family and like highly intelligent, like, answer any question pretty much.
right,
So like I started that, but like I told them too, like if y'all want to go, y'all are not obligated to stay. Like this is a family. I built this family obviously, like because I want to have another family besides mine. Because like mine is falling apart. Like right now, it's just me and the reptiles.
right,
My dad was my supporter, my number one supporter. My dad supported everything I did, and when I started the hobby, he was like, "If you start this, you better stick with it." And
right,
that lives in my head till now, you know. So I started this, I'm gonna finish it. And then when we started the podcast, I told Levi, if I start this with you, we're gonna finish it.
right.
So, but obviously Levi's doing something else right now tonight. We're obviously gonna do another one, and now we're 15 minutes. Huh?
Right.
How you feel?
I'm doing that.
Like, you want to do another one
Yeah, yeah,
later with Levi and everybody? Well, we'll do it at the expo though.
yeah, yeah. More planned.
Yeah, phone plan. I was just like, bro, let's do a live surprise live. This was
Hey, you hit me up this afternoon.
yeah. I hit him up right
Like
after the
around
live.
lunchtime,
I
right?
was like, hey, you busy today? And he answered, and we came here and we did a surprise live. But on that note, you got something positive to leave before we end up?
Oh, sorry, guys. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
Hell yeah, we came. No lie, came here, asked him to do a live. We actually ate, we hung out, and then we cleaned up
Hammered
your
out some
geckos.
geckos.
So yeah, it's been a cool ass day. Fun, fun.
Something positive to leave with. Take care of each other and stop. Take care of each other, but take care of the animals. You know what I mean? Like, I, 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 I don't want to harp on that, but I feel like too many people are not putting enough focus on their animals and putting more focus on their following or their likes or their flicks or their views than they are on their animals. You know what I mean? And that bugs me, and that's why you don't see me too
Yeah,
much.
on Instagram.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I'm so focused and dialed in on this shit. Like, it's
Dude, honestly, didn't think you were gonna answer back when I messaged either, because I know
You
you're
caught me
not.
at a good time, dude. I was sitting on the couch just hanging out with the wife, watching TV, and I saw it. I was like, oh, let me see what's up, you know? And yeah,
But on that note, I'm gonna shout out the sponsors. We got Reptile Crew. We got Ship Your Reptiles. Type in Flexin 23, you get 50% off the shipping. You got SB Reptiles. Josh, homeboy. We got KC Reptile Labs. We got Legion Tactical. And then we got Blue Ton Republic for the logos. I don't have it on no more. I took it off earlier. I'm sorry, guys. He did our new logo. Blue Ton Republic. If you're looking for a logo, hit him up.
cool.
Let him know.
I'm pretty set on the logo department.
Yeah, I know. I
I'm
like your
kind of
logo,
liking
but yeah,
it.
I was like,
I
I
think this
like your
could be my
logo.
brand right here.
Um, but yeah, on that note, guys, it was just a quick look special live. It was here at the shop. I would give you a tour, but that's not my shop. It's his. But that's up to him. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Let me get a little more settled in and get everybody upgraded to where they need to be.
Yeah, because he
Still got a couple temporary caging going on, and
just moved in.
yeah,
And but on that note, y'all have a good night. I felt like this went really well.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah. Um, you got anything else to say? We're out of here.
Later.
Y'all have a good night, guys. Appreciate y'all for jumping on, watching us, sticking around, listening to us talk about leopard geckos and fat tail geckos and everything else. Y'all have a good night, guys. Peace.